every day, no matter how much I try to change my algorithm, guys, I get on the internet and I see the battle.
Okay.
I see the battle. I see how much men don't listen to women and women don't listen to men. And because this is coming from a guy who has a sister that he's not listening to, I want to take this time to just kind of talk about that. Like, where do you think that comes from when a woman really does struggle to take guidance that comes from a protective, good place? Why does it seem like there's just this wall of like, oh, shut up, you don't know. Like, you can't tell me nothing. You know, where do you think that comes from?
That's a good question. Well, let me ask a question to your question.
Okay.
And this for everybody at home too, especially the women who are listening. Mm-hmm. If you know that, let's say your favorite dessert, cake, ice cream, cookie, whatever, is bad for you, mm-hmm. why keep eating it, right? Mm-hmm. It's that same, I look at it in the same way, because it's not good for your long-term health, mm-hmm. right? But there's something good in there in the moment that's keeping you there. Mm-hmm. So why a lot of women don't listen to the men or homeboys in their life is because there's something that they still like, enjoy, are attracted to in that current situation. Yeah. So a lot of times what the man is warning against is, I see the signs of where this is going. Yeah. But you're in it on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And even if you take that mindset, when you come back, you see the thing that you're attracted to and you like it and it's fun and it's mm-hmm. amazing. Like, mm-hmm. so it's like, I hear you, but in this moment and what I'm experiencing, I'm not experiencing that at all. Yeah. So it's hard to listen to that when you're not experiencing those things. Sure. Right? You can easily tell somebody, hey, if you smoke, you're going to get lung cancer. But if they're getting high and enjoying the high, it's going to be hard for them in that moment to be like, mm-hmm. yeah, rewrite lung cancer, right? Right. But if they got diagnosed on that day, they might change, because it's like, oh, I see, you know, the I'm sowing, reaping what I actually sowed in this moment. So I think when the change truly occurs is when that fun, that attraction, that good feeling runs out. Yeah. And there's nothing else there to really balance out the negative. Sure. And then that's when the change starts to happen. Because I've been in this situation so many times, Rhonda, with so many friends from high school to college to adulthood. Mm-hmm. Like, telling them this not what makes sense. You don't want this. You don't. Mm-hmm. I've had people tell me, like, yes, when I'm with this person, I am not happy. I mean, I'm lost. I don't get it. I don't get it. What's the issue there? What are we doing here? But then, they feel that way. They do it, and then they're ready to move on. But then when they go back into the situation, sure, then it starts back up again. Walk back in the house, you may be angry. Hey, babe, like, I cooked you some food. Like, then all that stuff kind of washes away, and then you're like, you get that thought, like, well, maybe it's not that bad. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe it's just because this is good. Like, this, right. Yeah, this is fine. Like, this is nice now. Like, and you keep falling out of it. So it has to get to a point to where it's like, it truly runs out for you to be like, okay, finally. But I learned that takes time. I've tried to talk and explain and tell somebody what it is.
Give the examples.
Everything.
I was him.
And it don't work. Yeah. It don't work. Y'all don't listen.
It's the y'all don't listen. You know what I think? Because I agree with you. When you think about taste and like just something feels good, and sometimes those endorphins just keep you locked into things. So totally been there, done that, very much understand that. I think the other thing though, sometimes, and this is the thing that saddens me, is that there are so many women who have been on the bad side of being mistreated by men in their lives overall. Like, it could have started at home and didn't necessarily have to be dad. Maybe it was brothers, maybe it was uncles. And then your dating experiences are weird. And, maybe you were trying to be the good girl and you got shafted in that situation. And I think that happening so many times creates a very hardened person if they aren't doing the work to like individualize those situations, because just because your uncle treated you bad or your dad treated you bad or the first 3 guys you dated and your ex-husband treated you bad, I don't care how many men treated you bad in your life, they do not represent all men. They only represent those men. They represent that group. It could have been 10 of them. It could have been 20 of them. I don't know how many men are in the world, but it's way more than 20. It's way more than the 20 you dated, so... But it's hard to teach yourself that is not all men. It is, you really do wind up getting hard. And I recognize it in myself sometimes where, you talk about triggers, like a person might appear to be doing something that someone else did, but they actually aren't doing it to hurt you or manipulate you. It's a behavior that you now have to figure out and discern, like, is that or is that not that? But what I see, like I said online, that saddens me is that so many people, so many women sometimes operate out of that space. They just jump to that. Like you'll see a video of like a guy proposing, and you can go through the comments and you can find women in the comments like, he right cheating, he right, he doing all of this so fake, girl, he gonna leave in 2 years. It's like the women who have that mindset, I feel bad because I believe that something happened to them to make them that way. And this goes both ways. Please, this goes both ways, but we're focusing on women who have this mindset. And that's what I'm talking about, where they can't even hear them because it's a man. If a woman was saying the exact same thing, she would listen. But because it's coming out of a man's mouth, it is like, sure, right, whatever. I feel bad for that because I believe I know where it comes from for the most part. But I do challenge women who may be listening, or a woman like this in your life, to like just try to encourage her, even maybe share this with her, encourage her to try to do the work to understand that these bad men are not all men, and all men aren't bad, and all men aren't out to hurt you. Your father is not every man you're going to meet. Your ex-husband is not necessarily going to be the next man in your life, because I believe when you stay in that mindset, it's kind of almost like that's what you attract, because that's all you think about. You think about when you it's like you're hungry. It just feels like it's insatiable. That's all you can think about. You feel like you're smelling food. You walk outside, you like, I need to eat. Like you become obsessed with it. I think it's the same thing. If you think all things are bad, that is how you will function. That is likely what you will attract. Because if you have a nasty attitude, a bad energy towards it, I don't think you're going to get someone that's going to want to be warm and fuzzy with you. It just doesn't work that way.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I think that could apply for like more of a general perspective on men. But maybe in this situation, if it's talking about somebody cares about you and giving a perspective,
oh, for sure,
that
it's totally different.
Be a totally different thing.
Yes.
But it's funny when you were talking, I was thinking in my head, like, I know y'all don't listen to y'all homeboys, especially when y'all got y'all mindset on something. Been there too many times. But I'm like, do y'all listen at all to anybody when you got your mindset on something? And I realized too, it's like, y'all don't listen to your homegirls either a lot of times. Like when you got your mindset on this going to be the person.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, at least the homeboy probably is genuinely telling you like, oh yeah, this is what it is. Your homegirl, you might think it's jealousy or like some type of envy of your situation. But what I see a lot with women sometimes is that first, the homeboy may say something if you ask or give you an opinion, but he ain't gonna harp on it every time y'all around.
Yeah.
Right? But your homegirl might bring it up every single time she sees you. So what's going on with
so-and-so?
Exactly. Yep. Seen it. I said, I've seen this movie before. But the thing is, what happens, because I've seen it before, is that if your homegirl start questioning you all the time or saying he ain't good, you'll start to distance yourself
from her. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then you get in a situation and now you're isolated with just you and that man.
Yep.
And it's like, especially, which we'll get into the actual scenario, but especially when you're in a situation where you're telling your homegirl all the negative things that's going on in your relationship, then she is sitting here hearing all the things that you telling her, because she ain't in the relationships on the phone calls or in the room, and she's trying to figure out why you still in this situation that you keep complaining to her about, and she got to be the shoulder that you leaning on with you crying,
tiring,
and you got to be the one. Oh baby, it'll be okay. You need to come over. She getting tired of that. And she
Yeah.
expressing herself and tell you how she feel, but you don't want to listen to her because then she putting a damper on your situation. You just want a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah.
So I say all this to say, again, I've seen this movie before multiple times, that I don't feel like y'all, when y'all got y'all mindset on something, y'all don't really listen to nobody, honestly. Everybody, it's like, it's just, at least the homeboy is like, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. But if it's your homegirl or your mom or another woman, sometimes y'all equate it to like jealousy or envy or like,
What does she know?
what does she know?
Yeah.
Like, and then because don't let it be a family member where you know their past situation. Oh, cause she divorced. That's why she all up in like y'all get catty in there over there.
It definitely gets spicy. Yeah, I mean, I definitely I hear that. I think that's I don't know. It's hard to say because I have to take your insight. You see how I'm listening to you?
Yeah.
I have to take your insight as a man who's experiencing women, friends and otherwise, not listening. So it's real for you. I feel like most people, when their minds are made up, they don't listen.
Very true.
Regardless
I
of
can see that.
gender. I think when you're hooked on something, quite literally and figuratively, you just are. And you really do, like you said at the top of the episode, you really do, at top of the scenario, you have to allow knowledge to meet experience so that the person gets the wisdom on their own. Sometimes that is just truly what, even when we were kids, I mean, that's how you sometimes just had to learn. Stop running. And he's like, I'm not going to say nothing. And when he falls, when you fall and that skin come ripping off your leg, you'll probably stop running. At least you'll slow down. You will have to, I told you to stop running, so you got the knowledge, but then you had to fall and rip the skin off your leg to get the experience. Combined, next time you probably going to walk, or you're going to take your time with the run, or you're going to run in areas that is safe to run in, so I think that's a problem for all people. But yeah. And I've even learned as a woman who is a friend to women, sometimes you really just have to listen. We have talked about that before on many episodes. Sometimes when your girls are venting to you, it is in fact not for you to advise. It is not. It is for you to listen. And most importantly, not only is it not for you to advise, it is not for you to judge. If she wants advice, you can ask her, does she want advice? Or wait for her to ask you for advice. But sometimes it is just for you to be the ear and allow them to navigate their own situations. I just had this back and forth with one of my friends who's like, so you just gonna let her do that? And I'm like, we are all grown, bro. Like, we're grown. Like, she will figure it out. I could very well not agree with what she's doing right now. She grown.
Yeah.
She's grown. She'll figure, and if it doesn't work out, nothing's gonna go wrong in my house. If her situation don't work out, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be here for her, but I'm going to actually be okay. So I can't get that too bent out of shape about somebody not necessarily navigating their own situation the right way.
And I'll just give this advice before we move on. Being a co-star in this movie before, supporting the main character who is my friend, who is a woman, or sometimes a man, is the most effective way to reach them is not by telling them anything, but just asking questions. That's been the most effective thing.
Sure.
And it doesn't mean that they're going to ultimately make the decision right at that moment, but you have to understand that the decision that they're going to make is going to be their decision that they came to on their own.
Flat out.
So what you need to do is give them the gas or whatever to start to turn the engines to make that decision. So that's what the questions are. They're thought-provoking questions that make them start to think about their situation. So like asking a friend, like this sounds like a lot going on. Are you even happy when you're with them? Like that's different than, you don't need to be nowhere near that, because that's controlling, that's manipulation, that's narcissism. Just ask them, are you even happy?
Yeah.
You don't think, you may deserve more than that?
Like them questions had that lump in your throat, like, oh.
And the always thing is the good ones that you get people caught up on is the kids thing, right? Kids and mom thing. Like, how would you feel if this person was the father to your son? If your daughter brought home a man like that, what would you say to your daughter? That's the one that be having people like,
You know what, you right.
so either what's
They
going to
don't even answer the question. They be like, you know what, you right.
either what's going to happen is they're going to appreciate that and they're going to start to, to confide, or they ain't going to never ask you for advice again.
You're done.
They don't want that accountability. They're going to be like,
my
no.
friend, not my doctor. What is this?
They'll be like, no, I don't want to talk to you no more because you making me, you telling me this bad. I want it to be good. I want to live in fantasy land. I don't want no accountability. This too hard. I ain't trying to think that deep about this right
Not
now.
at all. Not at all. Not at all. That's hilarious. You're so right, though. You're so right.